Welcome to Live Interactive English. Hello, everybody. I am Shane.
And I am Karen. Today we are looking at day one of From Plato to Aquaman, the lasting appeal of Atlantis. So does that mean we're talking about Aquaman?
Well, I mean, Aquaman's going to be part of it. We're also going to talk about Plato, I imagine, too.
That's right.
But the real star is Atlantis.
Atlantis?
Now, Atlantis, like, you know, if you're going to go on vacation or something, sorry, you can't take a trip to Atlantis.
Why not?
Because it's a hidden city or a mythical city.
So that means the city does not exist.
Either it doesn't exist, or it could just be hidden somewhere, like maybe under the water. It was there a long time ago. I mean, I've heard stories that there's like lots of treasures there. And that it was quite an impressive city. I've even heard things like that buildings were made of gold. You know, you hear all kinds of these myths because it's a very interesting mythical place.
Okay, so basically it's like a big mystery. It's a place that nobody really knows, right? Knows about.
Yeah, so I think that makes it exciting for, like, people to, maybe people have searched for it, tried to find it, maybe got lost at sea looking for it. There's all kinds of interesting things about Atlantis. So
that means we'll be learning some things about Atlantis, maybe some real facts?
Well, I don't know how many real facts there are about Atlantis, but we'll definitely be talking about Aquaman. So let's get into it.
All right.
For many film lovers, the Aquaman movies mark their first encounter with the lost city of Atlantis. However, these movies are based in part on a centuries-old tale, and some people even believe that Atlantis might have been a real place. Aquaman and its 2023 follow-up show the adventures of Arthur Curry, the king of Atlantis. In the movies, Atlantis is portrayed as an advanced ancient civilization that sank beneath the ocean. Therefore, its people were forced to adapt to their new watery home.
So today we are looking at day one of From Plato to Aquaman, the lasting appeal of Atlantis.
Wow. So we've got a philosopher from way back in the day who, wrote lots of philosophy and wrote about all kinds of things. And we got a superhero.
That's right.
So let's first talk about the superhero. Okay, so for many film lovers, the Aquaman movies mark their first encounter with the lost city of Atlantis. So it's the lost city, right?
That's right.
So if something is lost, you kind of assume that it must have existed, right? But I don't know about that.
I don't know about Atlantis.
According to legend, there used to be one, but no matter what, it's lost.
That's right.
So encounter is our first vocabulary word. That's a noun. It just means to experience something, especially something unpleasant or difficult while you are trying to do something else, right? So for example, you can say, when I went to Spain, it was my first encounter with a foreign culture. So it might be difficult, you meet a foreign culture, you have culture shock, sometimes it's a little bit difficult.
That's right, like encountering a problem or some challenging things, right?
Exactly.
Okay, well, let's continue. However, these movies are based in part on a centuries-old tale, and some people even believe that Atlantis might have been a real place. And I think that's really what you are talking about, how we really don't know too much about it to say if it really has existed, right?
Right, it's a tale, it's kind of like maybe like a myth or whatever, but some people really believe that it was a real place.
That would be really cool.
That would be pretty interesting if one day we finally do discover it. Okay, so in the movie, Aquaman and its 2023 follow-up show the adventures of Arthur Curry, the king of Atlantis. So I know, like, Aquaman, have you seen the movies?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
But I watched only the first one, though.
That dude is like really schwy, right? He's like totally handsome, that guy. Like that's
He's quite charming.
He's very charming, and he kind of looks like I don't know how to explain. He's very rough looking.
That's right.
Very tough.
I think he's a really good actor to play this role.
He's perfect for it, right? Yeah, okay, so continuing. In the movies, Atlantis is portrayed as an advanced ancient civilization that sank beneath the ocean. So it's portrayed as an ancient civilization like that was actually, assumed to be full of riches and all kinds of treasures. So to portray something, that's a verb. It means to show something, or it could be somebody in a picture, to describe somebody or something in a piece of writing, or in this case, in a movie, right? But that is originally written from a screenplay, right? So, for example, the book portrays New York as a cold and unfriendly place. I always get that feeling about New York too.
I know.
I've never been there. Have you been?
I have been to New York a few times, but actually...
Was it cold and unfriendly?
Well, it's very cold. It's as cold as Toronto. So that's where I'm from.
That's cold.
But unfriendly, I guess if you compare New York to Canada, I guess, yeah, it is probably
The people
unfriendly.
basically just kind of like ignore you, and people are just a little bit not so friendly.
It's a big city. Let me just put it that way.
All right.
Okay, we're also looking at this word here, civilization, and that is a noun. A civilization is a group of people with their own languages and way of life. For example, you could say, I am interested in ancient civilizations like Greece and Rome.
Oh, it seems like when we talk about civilizations, we are usually talking about them from the past.
That's
right.
right.
Like kind of ancient civilizations. You don't really say, America is a great civilization. You usually use it to talk about places that existed in the past, like empires and things like that. And we have another vocabulary word, which is sink. So they say that Atlantis sank below the ocean,
That's right.
So to sink just means to go down below the surface or towards the bottom of a liquid or a soft substance, or in this case, water.
That's right.
Which is the ocean, right? So for example, you could say, all of the passengers got off the boat before it sank.
Okay, then that's good.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so therefore, its people were forced to adapt to their new watery home. Wow. Okay, so basically Atlantis is sank under the ocean, right?
Yeah. So, of course, in a movie, they adapt to their watery home. But I think if a civilization really sinks under the water, you pretty much just abandon that
That's right.
civilization, right? You also have a vocabulary word, adapt. What does that mean? To adapt to their watery home.
To adapt, and that is a verb. Basically, it just means to change or to change something to suit different conditions or uses. For example, you could say Tom quickly adapted to his new school. And like we mentioned in the article, because now the city is underwater, so the people were forced to adapt to living underwater.
Yeah, at least in the movie. Okay, let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
All right.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。这2天的课程是关于 Atlantis 亚特兰提斯。同学们有看过《水行侠》这部电影吗？对许多电影爱好者而言，在看这部电影的时候，也许就是他们第一次接触失落之城亚特兰提斯。不过，电影有一部分呢是根据一个流传好几世纪的故事所改编。有些人甚至相信亚特兰提斯可能是一个真实的地方。那么 Shane 老师说这是个迷思，我们学一下 myth。myth 就表示迷思或者是神话。那么单字 encounter 它可以用来表达初次接触、初次体验或者是偶遇、遭遇的意思。课文接着提到说，水行侠还有他2023年出的续集有描述了亚特兰提斯王的冒险经历。在电影当中，亚特兰提斯被描绘成一个沉入海底的先进古代文明，因此他的人民就被迫要适应新的水上家园。好，单字 portray 这个动词呢，它表示描绘、描述或是刻画。Portray somebody or something as 就可以表达把某人事物描绘成什么什么。好，那再来看 civilization 或是念作 civilization 这个名词，它表示文明、文明社会。那么 sink 表示沉没，那它的动词三态是 sink、sank、sunk。再来看 adapt 这个动词，它表示适应或者是使适应不同情况或用途。它当不及物用的时候，常常后面会接 to 加名词。那这边一个重点，我们进入文法时间。这边要介绍的是 may have 加 pp 或者是 might have 加上 pp， 可以表达可能怎么样怎么样，用来表达对过去事实的推测。那使用 might 的可能性会比 may 来得低。举例来说 ，the accident might have been caused by human error。那起意外可能是人为疏失造成的。补充一下 ，could have 加上 pp 也可以用来指对过去的推测，表示能够怎么样，可以怎么样。像是 the accident could have been avoided， 那起意外原本可以避免的。好，接回课文中。
The Atlanteans live in strange structures that seem to have grown on the bones of the old city. But while director James Wan can take credit for the film's impressive designs, the idea of an underwater city is far from original. Atlantis was first mentioned by the Greek philosopher Plato. Plato's 2,400-year-old tale describes a strong island nation protected by the sea god Poseidon. It tells how Atlantis became too confident and sought to take over other lands. After being beaten by Athens in a war, it was destroyed by earthquakes and floods and sank into the sea.
Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
So before the break, we were talking about the lost city of Atlantis, right?
That's right.
And then it's like a mystery because it's a place that we don't know if it has ever existed.
Right. Has it just been something that was made up by writers or just people telling, stories about it? Or did it actually exist?
Well, I think a lot of people have been telling a lot of interesting tales, a lot of interesting stories about it. Like in the movies, the Atlantis is portrayed as the advanced ancient civilization, right?
Exactly.
Okay, and then that sank beneath the ocean. And the people had to adapt to the watery city. So it does sound pretty interesting, don't you think?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's learn more about the Atlanteans. The people of Atlantis.
Okay.
Okay, so the Atlanteans lived in strange structures that seem to have grown on the bones of the old city. So we don't literally mean bones.
As in like the bones in your body.
Yeah, but like the structures and things that were there, like the buildings and things, they built upon them. But while the director, James Wan, can take credit for the film's impressive designs, the idea of an underwater city is far from original. All right, so he came up and, and he's directed this movie and he has his own interpretation of what Atlantis would be like, especially in a superhero type of a setting.
That's
As an
right.
advanced culture. Right.
And Atlantis was first mentioned by the Greek philosopher Plato. We heard about his name in our title, right?
That's right. So yeah, he's a very famous philosopher.
That's right.
Who was from Greece, and he, as you know, he talked about Socrates. You know, we don't know if Socrates is actually even a real person or just somebody that Plato used in his writing, but he's a very famous philosopher and had a huge influence on modern culture.
Exactly.
So what is a philosopher?
So philosopher, that is a noun. Basically, it just means a person who seeks wisdom or enlightenment. So for example, you could say, the philosopher helped me see the world in a whole new way.
Do you consider yourself a philosopher?
Yes, well, I guess so.
You seek wisdom.
I do.
Do you? Okay.
How about you?
Absolutely. All right, let's continue.
Okay. Plato's 2,400-year-old tale describes a strong island nation protected by the sea god Poseidon. It tells how Atlantis became too confident and sought to take over other lands. And after being beaten by Athens in a war, it was destroyed by earthquakes and floods and sank into the sea.
Oh, so that's the tale.
That's right. That is the story, right?
Very interesting. Okay, well, that concludes day one, but we still have another day to talk about Atlantis. So we'll see you next time.
See you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
亚特兰提斯人生活在奇特的建筑当中，那些建筑似乎是在旧城的遗骸上长出来的。我们补充一下哦，文中他用到 bones， 并不是照字面意思来指骨头，在这边是比喻用法，用来指旧城的遗迹、废墟或者是残存的结构。那么 Shane 老师这时候用到 literally 这个副词，就表示照字面地。好，那么课文接着提到，尽管导演温子仁可能因为电影令人印象深刻的设计而受到赞誉，但是水下城市的想法并不是原创的。亚特兰提斯最早是由希腊哲学家柏拉图所提到。他在2400年前的故事当中，描述一个由海神波塞顿守护的强大岛国，那就有讲到亚特兰提斯如何变得过于自信，试图占领其他国度。那在一次的战争当中被雅典击败后，又被地震和洪水摧毁，并沉入了大海。好，单字 philosopher 就表示哲学家。那么 Karen 老师这时候有用到 enlightenment。enlightenment， 它表示启蒙或者是启迪。我们补充一下 ，Shane 老师刚刚还有提到另外一位古希腊哲学家是 Socrates， 就是苏格拉底。好，这边一个重点，我们进入文法时间。这边要介绍的是连缀动词 seem 和 remain 的用法。我们先来看 seem， 它是表达似乎好像，后面可以接不定词 to be， 或者是接 to be 加上形容词或名词 ，to be 可以省略。例如 ，There seems to be something wrong with my phone。我的手机似乎有问题。好，那如果要描述的情况是发生在更早之前，或者是已完成的话，我们要用 seem to have 加上 pp。例如。They seem to have settled their differences. 他们似乎已经化解了彼此的分歧。接着来看到 remain， 它是表达持续维持某状态，仍然是怎么样怎么样，后面可以接形容词或名词，像是 Please remain silent during the show. 在表演过程中，请保持安静。好，那么以上今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
For many film lovers, the Aquaman movies mark their first encounter with the lost city of Atlantis. However, these movies are based in part on a centuries-old tale, and some people even believe that Atlantis might have been a real place. Aquaman and its 2023 follow-up show the adventures of Arthur Curry, the king of Atlantis. In the movies, Atlantis is portrayed as an advanced ancient civilization that sank beneath the ocean. Therefore, its people were forced to adapt to their new watery home. The Atlanteans live in strange structures that seem to have grown on the bones of the old city. But while director James Wan can take credit for the film's impressive designs, the idea of an underwater city is far from original. Atlantis was first mentioned by the Greek philosopher Plato. Plato's 2,400-year-old tale describes a strong island nation protected by the sea god Poseidon. It tells how Atlantis became too confident and sought to take over other lands. After being beaten by Athens in a war, it was destroyed by earthquakes and floods and sank into the sea.
Okay. That's great. Thank you so much. Okay, goodbye. I can't believe how many approvals we need to get this project off the ground. It feels like we're constantly jumping through hoops.
Jumping through hoops? Are we training for the circus or something?
No, I mean, we've had to overcome one obstacle after another. We've had to revise our proposal 3 times already.
You're right. It does seem like we're performing circus tricks just to get management's approval. They set the bar so high.
And every time we clear one hoop, they set up another one. When will this ever end?
We'll get there. We just have to take it one hoop at a time. Persistence is key.
Hello everyone! Today we're going to explore the idiom jump through hoops.
Yes, and it usually means to go through a lot of difficult or complicated tasks before you can get what you want or reach your goal.
Think about how circus animals are trained to jump through hoops. It's tough for them and takes a lot of time, right?
That's right. So in everyday use, it can refer to the bureaucratic processes in companies or institutions where you have to meet many requirements or overcome numerous obstacles.
For example, getting a visa to some countries means you have to jump through hoops.
Or she had to jump through hoops to get her driver's license renewed.
It can also describe the effort needed to please others or achieve a goal, such as impressing your boss or proving you're eligible for a scholarship.
Exactly. Remember, when faced with hoops to jump through, perseverance and patience can help you succeed.
It will all be worth it when you finally achieve your goal.
That's it for today, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.